Hey guys, how's it going? Go See Richard today, and today we're going to do an oil change. So first things first is I grabbed myself 5 liters of 520, plus I got an extra liter of 520, of course some shop towels, and then since this is the 2015, apparently we're going to be using this filter. I'm just using the Fram one, and then of course what other things you are going to need, I have them up there so I'll have to grab it, is just a funnel and an oil pan to catch all your oil when it comes out. And if you can, a socket set, because you're definitely going to need a socket set. So I'll show you the parts you need as we go, and I'll also show you how to reset your oil expectancy light. First thing, grab the top, or well, open your hood like so. Very easy. Drop the 2 hooks, and then you'll see that there's a hook. Can't really see it because of the lighting in here, but if you reach down, you can move the hook over with your hand to lift it, and then you just prop your hood. Very easy. There's the prop hole, just in case you don't know. Grab the top of the cover, just lip up and off. This is now out of the way. After you do that, you're going to notice right here, there's your alternator. Right here is a hex or a socket. It should be, I believe, don't quote me on it yet until I've tried it, but it should be a 24. It should be this one right here. Again, I don't know if that's accurate. I'm just going to check, and it is. So we have a 24 right there. So what I'm going to get you to do is take this. Don't fully take this off yet. Just crack it loose. So take your socket, crack it loose, and like I said, just loosen it up a little bit. Next thing you need to do is go underneath the vehicle. You're going to see the skid guard, your diff, and then you're going to see the engine pan, oil pan. So, as you can see, we have a bolt right there on the engine pan, which we're going to be loosening off. Now, that takes a 13 or a ½ inch, whatever you have with you. So what we're going to do is grab our pan, put it underneath, and we're going to empty it. Now, what I will say to you is, if you've been driving your vehicle for a long time, I would highly suggest, even you can wear gloves if you want right now, but it's going to be pretty warm if you've been driving today. So be very careful. You don't want to burn yourself with the hot oil. The oil is now almost done, but I pulled the screw out, and as you can see, I like to put the pan a little bit forward. Thank gosh this pan was just big enough. It drains out about 5 liters. Now what I'm going to do is, now that we've got this pan down here and that's draining, we're going to go up top and loosen that filter off the rest of the way. And if we do it slow, what it should do is it'll empty any oil that's up there down here, and it'll just go right into the pan. And then we can just put our new filter in. So right now, just leave this emptying out into the pan, and let's go up top. Up top, all we're going to do is slowly loosen this. I've actually taken the extension off, but we're just going to do that. After you've loosened this to the last thread, if you have a shop cloth, go up near it, and I would just kind of wrap it around, and then when you bring it up, you want to bring it up and flip it up as quick as you can, but try not to flick oil up, obviously. But once you do that, we're going to switch the filter that's in there. So in your new box, you should have gotten a new filter and a new O-ring. So if we look at this, this is the old one. And this right here where my thumb is the old O-ring. So what we're going to do is pull this out of the cap. And after we pull it out of the cap, then we're going to switch our, it's an O-ring, but an oil seal ring. You might want to just put the oil seal ring on first, and then I'll show you what we do after that. As you can see, the white ring is now on. What you're going to do is take your finger, dip it in here. There'll be a tiny bit of oil maybe or residue around the edge. And you're just going to rub a little bit of that the old oil that's in there on this ring. When you tighten it down, it helps it slide better so you don't accidentally nick the ring. So next thing to obviously do is just push your new filter in just like how you pulled the old one off. Next, you're going to back turn the filter. So go like you're trying to unscrew it. So you're going to go left with it, and then afterwards you'll be like, oh, okay, I think it's got the thread, and then tighten it on. You don't want to strip this. Next thing you do is just tighten it in by hand at first, and then you just put this on, and you're just slowly going to screw it back onto the block. Now when you do this, the most important thing is make sure that you do it with one hand like this. You do not want to over tighten this housing. It is like not a whole lot of pressure to tighten that down. I mean, it's not going to be going anywhere. It's not like it's just plastic. So you don't want to strip it. And you don't want to bow the housing. So I only use one hand like so, and I tighten it up, and right there, that's where I'm going to leave it. Again, if you read it, it says it's 25 Newton meters for tightening it. So if you have a torque wrench, go ahead, do 25 Newton meters, and that's the max. You do not want to bow that housing. Next thing to do is clean off your bolt. Make sure your threads are nice and clean that go into your drain pan. You can go back underneath and tighten that back in. Same rule applies. Just use one hand when tightening it. Don't crank on these things. You do not want to crank on one of the bolts just because you don't want to strip your pan either, and it's very thin metal. Wipe all the oil after you tighten it. There's no washer with this, so don't be freaked out. I know with every other car I've done, there's always been a washer, but this one, there's no washer. It's just the bolt. So make sure you wipe around, clean any dirt around. You want it to seal 100%. So wipe the bolt flange along the edge of the bolt, and then also wipe the pan very well like you see I've done. And then I tightened it using like I did with the filter, just my hand. And then I did give it a little bit of an extra pull with the hand just to make sure it seals 100%. You'll know before you strip this thing. You have to really wrench on it. So if I were you, just go get her in. Just don't use an impact and tighten it in by hand. Then take your wrench and just give it an extra, I'd say maybe quarter turn or something like that. You'll see. You'll get it on there and it'll be tight. And you'll be like, okay, I'm not going any farther than this. All right, now that we're done on this side of the engine, down below, we've tightened everything up. You're going to see your 520 cap. Take it and just put it up here. Next, put your funnel in there, and let's put, I'm going to say, close to that full jug in there. So put it up, put in like, I'd say pretty much at least 95% of that jug, because the engine calls for 6 liters, but I have seen people say that theirs is taking just a 5-liter jug. So just if you want, you can put the whole 5 liters in, or put in 4.5 liters, whatever you want to do, and then start measuring the dipstick. Of course, give it time to go all the way down. And of course, once you get that whole first jug in there, I would almost suggest capping it, starting the engine, letting it run through for probably a couple minutes if you want, turn it off, recheck your dipstick, and go from there. So you've topped up your oil. Now it's time to quickly go like this. We're just going to start the Jeep. It's going to take a second. And we're just going to let it go. And I'd say for maybe a minute or so. It's just going to cycle the oil back into the filter housing. What you can do while this is doing this for the next minute, check the others. What I will tell you to do is make sure you roll your window down. You don't want to lock yourself out of your vehicle just in case you close the door or your family member does. We're going to go over here. And then we're going to check the filter if we want. And then you're going to check under the engine with me. I'm going to just check here. No, mine's still good here. Do we have any dripping down here? Nope. It looks nice and clean and not wet up there. So we're looking good. Next thing is just go over and we're going to quickly turn off the engine and check our oil and then top up as needed. Again, you can always top out throughout the week. You might not be able to see this on the video because of how clean the oil is, but right now you'll see that it goes kind of darker than the light on the stick. I'm about 3/4 full right now. I will tell you, I would probably go to 3/4 and stop. It's up to you. You can fill all the way. Just make sure you do not overfill it. That means going past the serrated area into this area. That's bad news. You never want to overfill, and of course running with under the stick is not as good either. But you can sort of see where my stick's wet. I'm going to probably fill it up a tiny bit more. But what I'm going to do is just throughout the week, I'll top it up if it goes down any. Because it's better to be a little bit under full than to be completely full. So what you're going to do, take your key, put it in. Put it so you hear the engine whine. You see all the lights, cool stuff. Then you're going to hit menu. You're going to see digital speedometer. Keep hitting menu until it says vehicle info. And then it's going to show you a little down arrow, which means hit this down arrow. And hit that down arrow until it says oil life expectancy. Once it says that, pump the gas pedal 3 times and then turn off your engine. But as soon as you pump the gas pedal 3 times, you'll see that go to 100%. Okay? Alright guys, so that's all there is to this video. Thanks again for watching. I hope that it helped you out with changing your oil. It's so simple with this vehicle. You really don't need to take it to anybody. You can be done this without filming. Like I filmed this and it took me less than half an hour. If you're doing this, it'll take you like 15 minutes. It's super simple. Takes basic tools, and just make sure you take your oil and your filter to the right place. Anywhere that changes oil will probably gladly accept it because they will, I think they get a reimbursement on it. Either way, thanks again for watching. Have a great day.